All right, we're back, and great to have with us, finally, after several attempts. We got him. Nice to have back with us Josh Bernstein. He's the TV talk show host and official spokesperson for the Association of Mature American Citizens, and better than the NAA. No, what's the other one?
AARP.
AARP, I'm sorry. Thanks, Josh. It's Monday. I'm having a hard go here. Anyway, good to have him with us. We're talking about a lot of things. By the way, Josh's website is a way to go. It's joshbernsteinpoliticalwriter.com. Kind of a long one, but spell it all out. joshbernsteinpoliticalwriter.com. How you doing, buddy? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, and I'm doing great and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, good to see you. All right, Donald Trump shaking the world up, and quite a few articles over the weekend that he is the establishment's nightmare, not only in the Republican Party, but even inside the Democratic Party. What's your take on it?
Well, it's interesting that most polls are showing that almost 20% of Democrats are willing to cross over and vote for Donald Trump. You've got these two amazing black women, Diamond and Silk, that are running around the country at all of his events, getting people to, stump for Trump, if you will, as well as the fact that they have a ditch and switch website. I think it's ditchandswitch.com, in which they're telling people to ditch their Democrat party affiliation and then switch over to Republican so that they can vote for Donald Trump. But what's interesting is some of the sources that I'm hearing is that the establishment is starting to realize that Donald Trump is more than likely going to be the nominee. And they're now looking at it from a standpoint of the lesser of two evils. And what I mean by that is they see Ted Cruz as the bona fide conservative, authentic reformer. And they see Donald Trump as the independent businessman. So they're looking at it from a standpoint of, okay, we're stuck with one of these two. Let's hope that Donald Trump wins. Believe it or not, they're that much afraid of Ted Cruz.
Interesting. Do you think any of this this representation of the popularity of Donald Trump, which really he's basically representing the frustration and the pushback of citizens now having enough of Washington, do you also think that this might be a precursor on the fact that Hillary could be indicted? In other words, America's waking up, and if she slides through this, it ensures Donald Trump to be elected because the American outrage would be such an outcry. What's your take on that?
Well, I guess my take on that is the fact that is the American electorate ready to elect someone that is indicted under federal investigation, and is actually indicted for crimes and serious crimes at that, with sensitive material and documents and things like that. I think what's happened here is that I know that one gentleman, former attorney general, said that he believes within 60 days she'll be indicted. I actually hope she's not indicted within 60 days. I would like to see her indicted a week before the election, to be honest with you. But ultimately, I do want to see her indicted. And I think that the Democrats realize that they're stuck with Hillary Clinton for the most part, although I've been hearing some rumblings out of New Hampshire and Iowa that Bernie Sanders, a committed, admitted socialist, is actually challenging her. Just goes to show you how far to the left that party has gone when you have an admitted, committed socialist masquerading as an independent, and he's possibly overtaking the front runner, who, again, herself is also a socialist. So when you look at that dynamic, you realize that they're kind of stuck with Hillary Clinton. And so I think what they might do is they may try to strengthen the back end of that ticket by either putting a Bernie Sanders on, especially if he does well and wins some of these early states, as her VP, or Julian Castro, who is the current Secretary of HUD for the U.S. government. Him and his twin brother, Joaquin, are literally revolutionaries. They have been raised on their mother, Rosa, one of the co-founders of La Raza's knee, to be revolutionaries. And so I think that they're looking at that aspect, especially if Donald Trump picks Ted Cruz. They're going to need to try to balance that out.
The Democrats are saying they still would want her to stay in the race if she's indicted. That tells me that they're already talking about the possibility of that happening, because the FBI will be independent of the DOJ. And therefore, if the indictment comes, then it's possible the president gives her a full pardon, she's out, she's clean, and they stick Joe Biden in and they go for a barter convention. All of this is in the shadow of the popularity of Donald Trump being the guy that's pushing the government back into its place. What's your take?
Well, I think that's an interesting take, to say the least. I haven't really heard that. I think that the Democrats, as I said, are kind of stuck with Hillary Clinton, and they're going to try to limp her across the finish line with, anything that they can do in order to try to have that happen. But I also do think that the outrage is real, the sentiment is real, and the anti-establishment feeling in the country is very, very real. And I think ultimately, if it comes down to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, I think you're looking at a brand new person as opposed to the old guard. And I'm pretty sure the American people will pick the new beginning, so to speak, with Donald Trump. But, that's to remain to be seen.
And then Iowa, Cruz is now polling ahead of Trump. What if it's the other way around? What if Cruz pulls this out?
Well, it's certainly possible. I think it's a good possibility that he will win Iowa. But then you have New Hampshire, right after that. And I believe Trump will win New Hampshire and more than likely will win South Carolina and Florida. And then eventually you have the Nevada caucuses. That'll be a toss-up. And then ultimately, as long as he wins 40 to 45% of the Super Tuesday states, which obviously he'll probably win more of those Northeast states, I think he's going to, accumulate too many delegates in order to be caught. But we'll see what happens. Look, you have to understand something with Donald Trump. He's got the name recognition as anybody, as Oprah Winfrey, as a Kardashian. People know when you hear Donald Trump, you know who it is. You don't have to think about that. But the question is that going to resonate? And is that going to turn into votes? Is that going to turn into a ground game? Is that going to turn into, operations in these respective states? That we don't know. If it's just based on name recognition, he's about the only candidate that could actually just run on name recognition, and maybe the people will go and coalesce around him and go out and vote for him. But we also know that politics is local and it's won on the grassroots level. And we know that the Ted Cruz campaign in particular is doing very well on the grassroots, especially in places like Iowa.
So the ditch and switch campaign could backfire on him. I mean, do we really want a Republican to be liked by a bunch of Democrats?
Well, look, in this case, I would say yes, because, look, even Ronald Reagan, he got a huge amount of Democrats. You've got some certain sectors of society, not just Democrats, but even union folks that are heavy into Democrat Party politics. They're even pushing and going over towards Donald Trump because of his talk on being tough on trade, being tough on China, Mexico, Japan, all those other things as well. Plus, I think that the American people understand that with more of these illegal aliens coming into the country, it's depleting the middle class even more. And then moreover, obviously, with these trade agreements and allowing these people into the country and having them take American jobs, it's killing the middle class. So I think the people are smart enough, at least I would hope, and will wake up to the fact that, this is going to be a jobs type of president. And obviously, we've had 8 years of no jobs, and that is what's sorely needed.
There's been great effort by the establishment to displace Trump early on, and especially going into the primaries and the caucuses. What if the hardcore established Republican, let's call them the left side of the Republican Party, go for anybody but Trump if they go for the Democrat? Does this thing kind of equalize?
Well, that's a good question. Just about a week ago or so, they tried to get the infighting between the Trump supporters and the Cruz supporters fighting against each other as Donald Trump, I didn't think very smartly, made a comment about, possibly his eligibility being in question or an issue. Now, what's interesting is back in September, he was asked the same question, and he said, I don't think it's an issue or a problem. What he should have said to the reporter is, you know what, that's something we discussed back in September. I don't believe it's an issue. Next question. But he didn't do that. Being Donald Trump, he doesn't normally do those types of things. So last week, they had all of this, information out there and all these different stories about the fact that he might not be eligible. And then we know that the birth certificate was put out by the campaign. And I think that may have quelled some of the doubts, if you will. But ultimately, what they were trying to do before Iowa, don't kid yourself, they were trying to get Trump and Cruz supporters to attack each other so they could slide Marco Rubio in between the two of them. But I don't believe it worked.
All right, so you think it's coming down to a two-man race?
I do. I think that, Rubio may place third in some of these areas, especially second or third, maybe in Nevada. But I think ultimately, this is an outsider's year. I could be wrong, but I think it's probably either Trump or Cruz here.
All right, let me just say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to Josh Bernstein, politicalwriter.com. That's his website. What's the Association of Matured American Citizens website?
Sure, it's www.amac.us. www.amac.us. We are the conservative alternative to groups out there like AARP, and we are basically a liberty-based organization, a conservative-based organization that puts our members first, and anything that we do on behalf of seniors 50 years of age or older is to give them more choice and more freedom in their health care decisions. You can also call 888-262-2006, 888-262-2006, and it's amac.us.
I'm hearing a lot of good things about AMAC, Josh. In fact, it's getting a lot of very positive press.
It's a fantastic organization, truly, and I'm so proud and honored to be able to represent them to the media and to the folks out there. And again, check it out, amac.us. Tell them Josh Bernstein sent you. We'll take good care of you.
Thanks, buddy. Let's stay in touch. Got a lot of fun days ahead.
Any topic, anytime.
All right, see ya. We'll be right back.